All right, we should be going live now and pulling up Instagram. Should be live on Instagram soon. Here we go. All right, we're live on YouTube and about to go live on Instagram once I light this thing up. Boom, 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 boom. And here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And we're live on Instagram, baby. Here we go. All right. So there is YouTube. There's our chat. Let's make sure our chat is live. All right. I'm live now and we're ready to rock. All right, guys, I got a couple of things to go through. And as usual, if you're joining on Instagram right now, just know that if you jump on YouTube, you'll have more people to talk to because we have a very active chat on YouTube. So my link is in the bio for my YouTube channel. Feel free to hit it up. And I just started the live, guys. Welcome to the live. Thomas, Farhad, Gritty, Moore, Wendy, Foley. What's up, guys? Welcome to the live. Just started it up, and we're gonna get this show on the road. I went to the Piaget store today, which was pretty cool. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit about that. These right here, where is it here? Desktop. There's the desktop right there. What you're looking at right now, can you see the screen there? Let's see, does that let you see the screen? That's, yeah, you can. Very cool. How about me? Do I show up on there? Oh, I'm upside down on that. Holy cow. Let's flip that around. And how about now? There we go. All right, so what you're looking at on the screen is some watches. Just went to the Piaget store and looked around. Had a good time. This is the store here. This is the president of this is the North America, the guy that runs North America. This is a beautiful piece that I always love. I see it there. I obviously haven't gotten this piece yet, but it's a beautiful piece. Wonderful diamonds and jewels going around it. Look at that thing. Very cool. Very cool. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Look at that. Gorgeous piece. All right, so we got that going on. We got YouTube kicking up. It's starting up, and we are rocking and rolling, guys. Guys, welcome to live. I just started it up, and I'm going to show you guys a few timepieces because I was at the Piaget store today for the launch of their new store. They invited us over. So this is a new piece. Well, not too new. This is just a beautiful piece that I love. And I just made it a little brighter for you guys so you could see what it looks like there. Moving on down, we got Sanaz with the guy this is the guy that runs North America, all of Piaget North America, and he's wearing my watch. That's a beautiful malachite piece. This is a new piece that is it's an Andy Warhol. It's a tribute to Andy Warhol, the artist. This piece in the center, they actually made that out of 4 different pieces of stone. Real stone. This one on the left, this is real malachite. It's a green stone. I have this exact watch in this color. I think I have it right here. Yeah, I do. That's what this looks like. So this is my piece right here that I sport. I love this because it's very unique. It's very thin and lightweight, but it's wide and big. So I have a big wrist. But it also looks like stainless steel, even though it's white gold. It looks like stainless steel, so it's very unassuming. It's not like a watch you're going to get jacked for. You know what I mean? Not that I'm afraid of anyone, but these days, you know, we've gotten a little wacky these days. So this is that piece you see on your screen right, where is it? Right here on the left. So that's this piece right here. Let me see. I'm not even looking at my chat, guys. Where are you guys at? Where's our chat? Okay, cool. Whoa. We got the whole effect going on here. Whoa. Okay. So this is that piece right there. This is the Piaget malachite. This is a straight malachite dial. It's white gold with malachite stone. This piece in the middle is what they call the Andy Warhol. It's a 50-piece special. They only make 50 of these. It's yellow gold, and it's got 4 different stones. These are all stones that are put in like puzzle pieces into each other. They're cut out very delicately and put in like puzzle pieces. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can get an idea. Every one of these pieces. See this black stone? This is onyx going around it. And this is a pink opal. And 2 other stones that I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were showing me this. They want me to buy this. I haven't bought it yet. There's 50 total being made. They already sold 27 of them. And I might have to let them know by tomorrow or the day after max, because they're going to sell these out. I have this one. This is the, and I'm not flexing. I'm just showing you guys what I did today. I have this one. This is the rose gold. Let me just go like this so it'll focus on it. This is the rose gold with lapis lazuli. It's a real blue stone with gold. Okay. And this piece right here is just it was one of the last that they ever made in that blue stone. They're not going to make that anymore. So that's it for that one. But for this one here, this one they're only going to make 50. This one they make, if you're a Piaget customer, you can order one of these the way you want. Mine's custom made, and these are custom made as well. But this one is made specifically like this. Okay. So those are those watches, and then I had Sanaz try it on. They had us take a look at them. This is what it looks like on the wrist. Look at that. Beautiful piece. Look at that. You could see how these stones are put together very delicately like puzzle pieces. You see that? Look at that. So this is Sanaz wearing it. Here's how it looks on the table. Oh, not focused. No, it's not focused either. This is Manuel. He's the guy that runs North America. That's Sanaz. And then this is, these are the 2 watches. That's the malachite with the red gold. And this is that Andy Warhol. Okay. Ragin, what's up, buddy? How are you, man? I'm just kind of running through while people come online. I'm going through what I did today. Michael, what's up, bud? God bless, man. Good to see you guys. I'm going through, this is where I was today, just giving you guys a little insight to what I did today. I went down to the Piaget, had a grand opening of their brand new store they just opened. So they invited Sanaz and I down there. And these are some of the watches they showcased. Really nice pieces. So those are those watches. This is Sanaz wearing one of these blue ones. And let me zoom out so you can see it. There you go. This is a watch that I really wanted. I'm looking at it. It's a beautiful piece. It's all white gold. Solid white gold watch. But then I also like this piece here. So I think it's, where is the other one? This is the other one. This one is solid yellow gold. So you can see what that looks like right there. And so we kind of looked at some of these pieces, and they're just really, it's just a gorgeous watch, man. So I have my eye on this piece. I'm really digging this watch. It looks super, super sexy, and I might pick that up. But the ones that are the big, cool pieces, the wonderful pieces are these. One of them is this piece right here, which is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous with the stones going around. This is for the females, for the women. And then this Andy Warhol right here. This is their limited 50. If you look on their Instagram, this watch just came out. They made 50 total. And this watch, the president of the company is taking around with them around the world, showing it off. They already sold 27 around the world, and they only have 23 remaining. and they want me to let them know by today or tomorrow. I'm sorry, tomorrow or the next day max if I want this piece. So I'm still deciding if I want this. You guys can tell me what you think. It's a pretty cool piece. Again, guys, if you just joined the stream, I have this piece right here. This is my favorite watch to wear. Second to this blue one that I have on my wrist right now. Again, this is that piece that I'm wearing right now. This is my favorite one. It's rose gold with real stone lapis lazuli dial. You can see on the dial there's like gold flecks in the stone. It's a beautiful deep blue, you know, gorgeous watch. But this is rose gold, and so it's, you know, it's obvious that it's a nice piece. If you're out and about and, you know, in some rough neighborhoods. But this piece that I have on your screen right here, people think it's stainless steel. They don't know it's white gold. So I love wearing this watch. Again, if you're just looking, this is what this one looks. This is mine. There you go. That's mine right there. So that's just this is one of my passions, guys. I love watches. So I gotta decide if I want this one though. Right here. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll take a look, see what's up. And then we're gonna go over here and get our stream started, guys. All right. Ragin says, I like the other ones better. I'm not a huge fan of the new one. The one you're wearing is beautiful. Thank you, brother. Yeah, this is, I really killed myself to get this piece right here. Let me just see, because I can't even see. Why am I not able to see? All right, here we go. I had to kill myself to get this piece, bro. It took me 2 years or more to get this piece that I'm wearing right now. Rose gold with the lapis lazuli blue dial. Because nobody had it. They don't make them anymore. They're not sourcing that kind of stone anymore. The rest of the world, jewelers in general, are not making that stone anymore because of the way that the stone is mined. Apparently it's not humane, and something about it, it's just they don't do it anymore. But this is, we watched some Jordan Peterson. We're going to jump into Jordan Peterson. However, I'm going to watch some other ones first, and we're going to start here. Ready, set, and let's look at this to get some current events and see what's happening. Let's go.
In today's video, after Democrats announced that they would launch the master ice tracking website, it has been exposed that they will not be able to do so. Also, the governor candidate out of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, she's in trouble. That's why Morning Joe says if she loses, it's due to sexism. We're going to be talking about these and much more in this video as usual, but let's start with Democrats threatening political violence against ICE agents. Take a listen.
Don't forget where you're standing. This is South Central Los Angeles. They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles. The people have every right to defend themselves.
Okay, so we're picking up where we left off yesterday. I mean, you still continue to see people calling for violence against ICE officials. Why?
Wow.
Because they have nothing left
What's up, boo-boo?
at this point. They've already tried to go to the courts. They're not getting the rulings that they have hoped for, because even if a lower court judge rules in their favor, usually the Supreme Court or the Federal Appeals Court will overrule it. So the only thing they do have left is political violence, and obviously due to the polling we've seen recently, on the Democrat side, political violence is justified. I mean, this is public at this point. There's no shame in what they're saying now. They have no shame in it. They are willing to get violent against ICE officials because they don't agree with what they're doing. And just to support our point, in case you missed it earlier during our live stream, Democrats have announced something called a master ICE tracker. Take a listen.
I shared this with the mayor. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker, where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify, that the community will be able to send us information on.
What does that sound like to you? It sounds like they are obstructing ICE officials from doing their job. They're going to dox them. They're going to put their information out there. They're going to put their location out there. And what's fascinating about all of this, if you were to do this to a local police
Dude, these guys have lost their minds.
department, you know you'd be wrong. In some cases, it would be illegal. Now,
But it goes back to what I've said before, man. Sometimes something's got to break before it gets fixed. Sometimes you just gotta. I mean, I guess they haven't figured it out. They haven't learned their lesson. They haven't learned what the hell's going on. And sometimes you just gotta let them, I guess, take it too far and destroy it themselves before they can figure out, dude, we screwed up.
now I guess
It's like what's happening to New York. Some people, that's what they say. They're like, dude, I mean, it looks like Mamdani's going to become mayor. I mean, it is what it is. What are you going to do? I guess you got to let New York, go through what it's going to go through in order for it to wake up.
the question is, do they actually have the authority to do something like this, according to the representative? Well, I'm going to show you a clip here in a bit that actually exposes him as a liar with this message, and all it really is political theater. Now, here's Tricia McLaughlin from the Department of Homeland Security and her reaction. Take a listen.
Well, this sure looks like obstruction of justice, and I know Attorney General Pam Bondi and Secretary Noem are all over this. There's really two reasons why the Democrats would release a list like this, and it's either to allow criminal illegal aliens to evade arrest, or secondly, it's to target law enforcement. We've already seen a 1,000% increase in assaults against our law enforcement officers. Just 3 weeks ago, we saw a domestic terrorist attack against them out of Dallas. We're going to keep on seeing more of this if this is the Democrats' position.
Yeah, we absolutely will continue to see more of this because I told you guys already, they have nothing.
What's up, you cats? Yeah, I agree, Boo-Boo. Our country needs the reminder of how bad socialism is. Apparently, they need the reminder.
Left. Political violence is now on why Abigail Span.
The Democrats would
Bounties that were placed on.
I'm gonna be reading. What's up? I Choose Life. How you doing? Hello. Welcome back. I just purchased a couple books. I'm gonna purchase a couple more books on. I just purchased a book on Marxism, and I'm gonna pick up a book on socialism and communism. I want to dive in deep and really understand. From the sources, what this stuff means and what's behind all this and what happens when you have socialism or communism, what's happened in the past. I want to really learn.
On ICE agents either. They're okay with all that because they believe that when they disagree with something, everything is on the table as a response. It's how they treat the president. Even breaking laws are justified as long as we take the president out. That is their line of thinking, and it's really unfortunate. Okay, let's go to Mark Mullen, who exposes Robert Garcia for the liar that he truly is regarding this announcement. Take a listen.
I do want to put a fine point on it. So Congressman Robert Garcia is lying when he says he can track people who work with ICE. Well, I guess
that's absolutely true.
That's when a lie is a blessing. But what you're saying is he's willing to put that false information out there and make people afraid or potentially.
Michael, good to have you, man. If you gotta leave, we'll see you later. And what's up to Sharon? How you doing? What do you mean by also 1984? Oh, the book 1984. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I want to put that on the list right now, actually, while we're doing this.
Potentially incite them to do something dangerous to someone else. I mean, it's disgusting.
It is. Now, what he could do is he could put ICE facilities on his website, which isn't overly known. A lot of times they don't have they don't have DHS or ICE facility on the outside of it. There's a lot of FBI headquarters, Secret Service.
So is it okay if he does that?
The city. No, it's absolutely not. It becomes a national security, and we would have to do. I would suggest, I'm in the Senate, but I would suggest the House to hold him accountable if he were to ever do anything like that, and especially if harm were to come to any infrastructure or personnel that works in the facility that he would expose.
So essentially, Robert Garcia and the rest of this party is a liar. They only held the press conference to amp up their base. They think it's going to get them results in the midterms and in elections. They think this type of fighting, this type of political posturing is going to help them advance their message. I'm not too sure it is. Now, the interesting part about this announcement today is who's talking about it. I'm talking about it. Conservative commentators are talking about it. But what about left-leaning sources? Well, according to Ground News, which is the tool we like to use to see the full picture of what's being reported in mainstream media so we could critically think for ourselves, according to them, If you guys look here, 89% of right-leaning sources are covering this announcement. I would call this a huge announcement. Why is it only right-leaning sources talking about this? Well, you guys know, because it's going to contradict their messaging. Okay. Now, to give you an example of what it's going to contradict, listen to what J.B. Pritzker had to say.
I just purchased 1984. It'll be here Friday. Thank you for that, Sharon. But isn't 1984 fiction? Right? That's a fiction. I mean, I don't care. I just purchased it, but I got the hardcover. It's going to be cool. I can't tell if it's fiction or not, but we'll take a look.
About ICE officials in the Trump administration today. Take a look.
This is what happened. This is what happened. People's rights started getting taken away. People got accused of being immigrants. This is before the Holocaust really took place. People were accused of being immigrants, and then laws were passed to limit immigrants, and then people who weren't actually immigrants were called immigrants, and then it was othering people, and that led to a lot worse things. What I'm saying is that this is how authoritarian regimes do it. They create these kind of fake ideas that there's an enemy out there and it could be sitting next to you at one of these tables. And so just somebody at your table that you don't like might be one of those enemies. And so let's...
First of all, their microphone system sucks. I hate the sound coming out of that. But second of all, this guy is literally describing what Democrats do. They're fear mongers, and he's literally describing his own party. That's called projection. We all know that, right? Remember that term? Confession through projection.
Round them up. Let's make sure that they are the subject of the laws that we're passing because we don't like who they are. That is what authoritarian regimes do.
Thank you for the education, Governor, because this clip I'm about to show everybody, I think, puts a button on what he was.
You guys are saying that it's a great book. It is a fiction. However, apparently it's all coming true, and I'm going to read it. Orwell is another author that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Peterson recommended to read, and I will read it now. It's coming.
Saying. So he's out there saying that, the Trump administration is targeting people based on their skin color and making them out to be the enemy. That's not what's happening. He's holding people accountable who broke the law. Okay, that's bottom line up front. And
what's up, Random? Welcome back, bro. Good to have you. What's up, David? He says, "Let the Dems do what they think, and they should never got elected again. They won't get elected again, bro, for a while if they keep going down this path." What's up, Aquarium? As I said, dude, last night, these guys, they lost the election last year horribly in so many ways, and all they did was point fingers at everyone else but themselves. It was everyone else's fault but themselves, and they haven't changed their tune at all till today. Recent Democrat, I switched, I think it was 3 or so years ago myself. I don't see them changing their tune whatsoever.
And the interesting thing, like I told you guys, is Ground News.
I Choose Life says 1984 by George Orwell is classified as dystopian social political fiction. I can't wait to read it. I ordered it. It'll be here on Friday. I ordered it because of you guys. Thank you guys. W. Sharon. Very scary book because we see what's happening today. I can't wait to hear it, to read it. It arrives Friday.
We'll tell you that. It's just a shame that when we look at a tool like Ground News and do our research, that left-leaning sources don't want to talk about this. And the cool thing about Ground News, it gives you the bottom line. You guys know my shows.
Eric M., what's up, bud?
It's based on bottom line points, giving you guys exactly what both sides are saying. That's what Ground News will help you do here, right? When you look up a story, they give you the bullet points. And it's a great research tool to stay aware, to stay in the know.
Got it, bro. Enough selling the thing to
heard
us.
the woman scream
Come on, man.
and intervened. A few hours later, 3 similar incidents were reported in Rogers Park. In one case, a woman reported fighting off a man who attacked her after breaking into her home. One of the victims identified Diaz-Gomez in a photo lineup leading to his arrest. He's being held in jail until...
You know what, Ken? I've heard this before. Ken says 1984 was a book that was required reading for me in 8th grade back in 1981. In 7th grade, we read Animal Farm. I've heard that before. I love to hear that, Ken. That's awesome. Can you please tell me, did it make sense to you when you were reading it back then? And do you still remember it now? I'm curious.
Till his trial.
Yeah, just so you guys understand, this guy had been arrested 5 times since June, released back into the community every single time. And now he's going to be held in the county jail. It's just ridiculous. This is exactly what conservatives and the American people don't want in their neighborhoods. This rape, these crimes could have been avoided if the first time he was arrested, he was handed over to ICE. And they're still not going to hand him over, by the way. But hey, it's the Trump administration who is aggressive. It's the Trump administration.
Guys, let me remind you on Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram and you want to jump into the conversation and have dialogue with us, the dialogue you're seeing on the screen is from YouTube. Feel free to jump over to my YouTube account and jump in our chat, man. Have some fun. Talk to us. And by the way, I'm down to take a call in today. So if somebody wants to call in and chat and talk about stuff, even shoot the shit or just have your voice heard, I'm down.
Who is terrorizing neighborhoods, they are wrong, right? That's what Democrats want people to believe. I just don't buy any of it, okay? Now, hear this reaction.
Mayor Johnson is so out of touch with his inner city. We talk with the inner city residents on a daily basis. They're glad we're there. And as far as terrorizing, if you're a criminal, illegal alien, or an illegal alien, then you're going to go to jail and be deported. You have the opportunity to use the CBP Home app, free plane ticket home and $1,000. That's not terrorizing. That's giving folks a chance to do the right thing. If they don't do the right thing, we'll arrest them. And if Mayor Johnson equates that to terrorizing, then that's his fault for, as you say, Sandra, amping up that rhetoric, which often leads to violence against law enforcement.
Well, so spot on. All right, let's go to our next update. This is elections that we're talking about, Virginia and New Jersey, but we're going to start with Virginia. So Abigail Spanberger is obviously having some issues because Barack Obama is coming out in full force and endorsing her campaign at the very last minute. So the question is, why would he do something like that? Well, we know she's struggling because
what's up, Scorn?
Her attorney general candidate, Jay Jones, has continued to be a distraction and a stain on her campaign. So, having said all that, I want you guys to pay attention to Morning Joe and the reason why they think she is struggling. Take a listen to this.
It really is incredible when you have Abigail Spanberger, Mikey Sherrill, her background, all the different jobs that she has held in the military, and also like Alyssa Slotkin. I mean, my God, these women are incredible. And to them, I would say, fight, because we need them.
Yeah.
We need them leading.
And Mikey is like, she's doing a ton of interview. You know, when I talked to them, when I was in the car, you know, it was this car, she had gone from interview to interview to talk to talk.
Bro, is this a winning strategy for these guys? Can you guys let me know? Having this dude on the right, I even forgot his name, but he's been there forever. Complete loser. This lady with this hairstyle, is this hair color, is this winning for these guys? Al Sharpton. Yeah, thank you, bro. Al Sharpton. Bro, Al Sharpton, random says, Al Sharpton looks like someone poked a hole in him and squeezed out all of his goop. Oh, shit, bro. Oh, man. Is this hairstyle on the left a winning hairstyle for these anchors on MSNBC? Like, is this getting them their views, or how about Al Sharpton? He's the one doing it, huh? Al Sharpton is the glue holding the network together. What are these guys doing, bro?
But
what the?
That's amazing.
You know, you still see the anxiety.
Yeah, Sherrill did have a few missteps in her campaign, but she still has, as you say, about a 5 or 6 point lead per polling. Spanberger's leading Virginia a little bigger than that. But, you know, both still competitive races here heading into the last
Boo Boo, who are you asking?
couple of weeks. But to
Boo Boo is 54 from Minnesota. Damn, dude. Hey, do you have to hear? Are you like right out there with Tampon Tim or what?
Mika, to Molly's point, I mean, this is something that a lot of Democrats are grappling with right now. Is they've nominated
Cruella, bro. WJC, bro. Yeah.
Women 2 of the last 3 elections for the presidency, lost both. There are some who say, well, we can't do that again. The stakes are too high. But of course, that does fall into the same misogynistic trap.
Other countries have no problem electing women.
Okay, this is why people don't watch Morning Joe, and the people who do, they eat up the propaganda. Because number one, it's not because of sexism on why Abigail Spanberger may not win this election. She's still ahead, by the way. The reason why she'll lose is because she refused to condemn the behavior of the Attorney General candidate, Jay Jones, when he said that he wants to see his political opponents assassinated, including his children. Okay.
What's up, Ken? I'm from California myself, bro. I'm 45 from California. Are you in SoCal? Where are you at, bud?
So that's number one. Number two, if you're comparing her to a Glenn Youngkin, there is no comparison. But to blame it on sexism if she loses is a poor and lazy way to talk about politics.
It's what they did when Kamala lost. They blamed it on misogyny. They said that Kamala lost because they called their own base, their own constituents misogynist. They said, oh, apparently you guys don't like women enough, so you didn't vote for Kamala. It's like, no, she had nothing between her ears. It's just, like I said just minutes ago, they blame everyone else but themselves for their losses and for everything. It's never their fault for anything they do. Never. It's unbelievable. The fingers just go outwards to everyone else. Never do their fingers point inwards to themselves and go, what did we do wrong here? Exactly. Tiger Stripe Eye, W Tiger Stripe Eye, bro. He says Kamala lost because she's a complete idiot. Bro, listen, think about it. Nobody can think of what Kamala stood for in her campaign, what policy she stood behind, other than the one thing that she stole from Trump. No tax on tips. Other than no tax on tips and sex changes for prisoners that are men who want to go into the women's prisons, we don't know what Kamala stood for. She stood for no tax on tips, which she copied from Trump when she found out everyone loved it when he said that. Then she was also for giving sex changes to male prisoners so they can go to the female prisons and hang out with the females. Ken says, no, not near Corona. Corona is bordering Orange County, which is close to me. But good to have you guys from California, man. We're holding it together here.
It has nothing to do with sexism, especially when her opponent is a woman too, who has a great resume.
Scorn says Kamala has hit her head on the headboard one too many times.
If not better.
Tiger says she didn't stand for anything because she was always
served in the United States Marine Corps as a female, which is not
What the? That's amazing.
Easy to do. And can I remind you, is a black woman. So it is interesting how Barack Obama wants them to vote for the white woman, but not the black woman, right? That's what Will Cain had to say. Take a listen.
Virginia's elections are some of the most important in the country this year. Having the right governor matters. And I'm proud to endorse Abigail Spanberger.
Oh, Abigail Spanberger, not Winsome Sears. So this time, the brothers shouldn't vote for the black woman. They should vote for the white woman.
Damn.
The white woman who won't condemn Jay Jones's politically violent text messages.
Damn.
We are 3 weeks away from an election in Virginia. The fact that I have to spend even a moment's time talking about somebody else's text messages from years ago, rather than what I want to do as governor, is something that I am deeply unhappy about.
The fact that she's complaining about what she has to respond to during her campaign tells you that she's not fit to lead. You decided to hitch your wagon to a guy named Jay Jones who wants to see his political opponent assassinated.
Yep.
That's not the voters' fault. That's your fault. You should have vetted the guy better. But again, the Democrat Party doesn't care about all that. They're willing to tolerate people who have Nazi tattoos, which we're about to get to, people who want to see their political opponents
Let's get to it, bro. Let's go.
As long as they have the ability to fight against President Trump, everything is on the table. Now, she continues complaining. Take a listen.
Let's do
The
it.
fact that I can't spend every minute of the day talking about the plans that I have built out, I mean, not to be too hokey about it, but like my multiple pages of plans, my affordability plan, my education plan, my growing our economy plan, because of the, poor choices of another candidate, it is something that really clouds my view of all of it.
Well, what's interesting is that if the shoe was on the other foot and text messages like these came out from a Republican that was running for office, people would be losing their minds. And you know what's interesting? That actually happened. So there was a guy who was tapped to be the person in charge of the special counsel on behalf of the Trump administration. He had to pull his nomination because he had some text messages that were about Nazis and, some rhetoric that was immediately condemned because it was leaked into the public. And immediately his nomination was pulled. You're not going to see him. But Jay Jones is still on the ballot. Now, let me prove my point even further, because this next story is just in line with what we were just saying. So you have this other guy running for office as a Democrat.
Damn, bro. Ken is coming in hot, bro.
He had a Nazi tattoo on his chest. And his excuse about the whole thing is that he didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo. Take a listen.
Another Democrat family feud. In May, a high-stakes Senate primary is turning into a brawl between the party's establishment and its progressive wing. Senator Chuck Schumer is backing Governor Janet Mills, while Bernie Sanders is throwing his support behind Graham Plattner. Plattner is facing loads of questions over his controversial tattoo that looks like a Nazi symbol. Critics also are hitting him for some online posts from the past. One user commented, "Cops are bleeps." Plattner's reply, "All of them, in fact," on a thread titled, "White people aren't as racist or stupid as Trump thinks." Plattner commented this quote, "Living in white rural America, I'm afraid to tell you they actually are." He also claimed to have an Antifa super soldier label on his armor. Plattner is suddenly saying he's sorry.
I am not a secret Nazi. We got very inebriated, and we did what Marines on Liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo. And we went to a tattoo parlor in Split, Croatia, and we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines. I knew that they were going to throw the book at me, right? Like I knew that we are up against the machine. We were told not to run this race. I posted on Reddit for years. I'm sure I said some dumb stuff. It was also a dark time in my life. I also used to get drunk and post on Reddit because that was fun when I was angry and alone. And pretty sure that accounts for most of my bad behavior.
What's up, Clay? Welcome, bud.
Again, not trying to make excuses. It was me. I did it.
All right, you heard him. So he admits that he did it. He got the tattoo, didn't know what it was. He got it out the wall because he was some dumb Marine. Am I likely to believe that? Probably not. But let's just give him the benefit of the doubt because I like going with the logic and still proving that what they're doing is wrong, right? So the interesting part about all this, what happened when Pete Hegseth came out and was tapped as Secretary of War, right? And they pulled up his tattoos, and he had these tattoos that match what you would see in, from Catholics or a certain religion. Don't quote me right now at the moment, but that's where it came from. And they were trying to relate that to Nazi and that it was white supremacy and all this other stuff, right? And they were losing their...
What's up, Psycho? The audio should be pretty good, man. Audio should be there. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Their minds over it, and it kept getting coverage and attention and
Can't
attention.
hear me?
You notice how they're not really going to talk about this tattoo as much. However, I'll give CNN some credit. They brought it up. And of course, they bring on some hack that is a Democrat congressman, and he doesn't mind it whatsoever. Take a listen.
All right, joining us now in the arena, Democratic Congressman from Massachusetts, Seth Moulton. He sits on the House Armed Services Committee, has launched a Senate bid for the seat currently occupied by Democratic Senator Ed Markey. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you for being here.
You too.
Should Mr. Plattner be the next Democratic nominee for Senate in Maine?
He should certainly be in the race. I mean, primaries are good. They're healthy. And he represents a new generation of leadership that's not just cut from the same cloth, part of the old playbook that frankly hasn't been serving Democrats well. But look, he's made mistakes in his life. He's made mistakes in his life. We all have. He deserves an opportunity to explain those mistakes, and he's doing that. I think another thing is, a lot of people in politics don't answer questions like this. They try to get out of it. They try to blame mistakes on other people. We see Donald Trump do that every single day. I see Graham owning this mistake, correcting it, and you know what? As someone who served in the Marines myself, he's far from the first Marine I've seen who got a tattoo that he didn't understand.
Well, even if I give him the benefit of the doubt, how do you explain what he was posting on Reddit? He sounds like a raging radical left lunatic who wants to see the police defund it, who believes Trump supporters are stupid and low IQ, especially white people in rural areas. It's his words. That's what he used in Reddit. So how do you explain that exactly? And we want him to be the next senator? You got to be kidding me. But again, everything is on the table. I've been saying this. Everything is on the table for Democrats because their justification is President Trump is bad. And because he's bad, we can do whatever we got to do to get rid of him. Okay. And obviously, as they continue to think that way, it always backfires.
Well, Nazi, I think, has become the new racist, because if everything's racist, really nothing is racist. If everybody is a Nazi, really, where's the coolness in being a Nazi? Stephen Miller's a Nazi. Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. Everybody in the Trump administration is one. It's so ridiculous. And you have to love that you're at this point in the simulation where you're waiting for the zipper on the horizon to open up and for you to be like, oh, thank God. It was all just this wild dream that we're having. Because if you think about it, when John Fetterman is your voice of reason in the Senate, a man who is a walking eyesore, just physically speaking, who has a stroke and needs equipment to help him communicate, and he's the guy who's making the most sense in your party, I'm sorry, we don't live in Realville anymore.
The other thing I want to point out, Wendy, the comments you made, all the people that you just cited that were called Nazis, none of them had Nazis tattoos, though. Graham Plattner did or
that you
does.
Know of.
That's the irony in all this.
So why don't we hear from you guys in the comment section below?
She has a great point, dude. And this is what we all say. They use these words so much that they don't have any weight anymore. They don't carry the weight anymore. You know what I'm saying? This Realville. I like Realville. That was good, random. They don't carry any weight anymore. And they've done all this crazy, wacky shit to the point where nobody cares about what they're saying anymore. Everyone knows they're a bunch of, what's the word? They're projecting, but everyone knows that it's just their empty cries. None of it makes any sense. Anyway, let's go to some other different videos.
Can a police officer well, let me try this another way. If I'm walking down the street and a police officer wants to stop and talk to me, can he just stop and talk to me for any reason?
Senator, you can seek your consent to stop and talk to you.
What if I don't consent?
If you don't consent, then the officer needs to have a reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed, will be committed, and be able to articulate that to justify the stop.
Okay. Then how come police officers can set up a roadblock and stop 500 people to see if they have liability insurance?
My understanding is that the Supreme Court has ruled that those types of stops, when generally applied, are conducive to good order and policing.
Why? They're still stops, aren't they?
Senator, in my 8.5 years as a prosecutor, I've not had to litigate the adequacy.
I know. I'm just asking you what you think. Isn't that pretty intrusive? What if I'm in a hurry to pick up my kid from school and I don't have time to wait for 10 minutes? And I don't want to wait anyway. Why? If a cop can't just stop me on the street, why can they stop me and check my insurance?
Senator, as far as my personal belief, I haven't encountered that.
I'm just asking you legally, why can they do that?
Again, I haven't encountered that issue, so I don't have the research on that, Senator.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
What the?
Who sent that? Was that? I think that was Aquarium or someone in our Discord. Someone sent that over. That was
Hey,
that's
we're
interesting.
Catholics, okay? I don't care where we are on Sundays. We go to church. Why would Jamaica be any different?
All right, welcome, brothers and sisters.
See, guys, church is church, no matter where you are in the world.
And now a message from Father Lawrence.
Under the blood, we say under the blood. Under the blood, yeah. Under the blood, we say we under the blood. Welcome to the 6:30 a.m. in the morning mass. If you hear me, you say amen.
Yeah, amen.
Honey, you don't even know what he's talking about.
Hush now, child, me trying to hear the good word. We want to hear about Jesus, Father Lawrence.
On the manger, on the cross, 3 days later, oh my God,
him not there.
Where him go?
Up in heaven.
That I know.
See? Church is church. Father is right. Jesus was upon the cross, died for our sins, and 3 days later he going to raise up into heaven. Hey, we're
All right, let's go. All right.
The idea of the sovereignty of the individual
I'm
and
gonna praise
instantiated
the
that into
Lord.
the political system. So that the notion was that you should always view people as individuals first and as members.
Marxist. I won't be talking about this on ITV at the moment. I believe that you believe that there is some kind of Marxist influence, postmodernist plot that's
Interesting. I'm about to get my Marxism book. I think it arrives tomorrow or maybe Monday, but I'm going to learn about Marxism real good from Thomas Sowell.
hatching in our universities. Hatched in our universities to do what? What is this conspiracy?
Well, the stated goals of the conspiracy, so to speak, can be found on the websites of disciplines like women's studies. It's to bring down the oppressive patriarchal structure of the West. And that's a deadly serious aim by all means possible, including an assault on the basic categories that we use to orient ourselves in the world. And so the theory is driven by the idea that the best way to construe Western civilization is as a power structure basically produced by men for men that's fundamentally oppressive and that needs to be dismantled from the bottom up. And so it's easy to find out what the aim is because it's stated very clearly to produce activists to bring that about. And that's especially true of disciplines like women's studies and the cultural studies discipline.
What do you think, ladies? Is it a patriarchal structure where men are trying to oppress you women right now?
You hate those courses, don't you?
Is that what's happening?
Well, it's not so much that I hate them, it's that I'm embarrassed to be part of the university because of what the universities are doing.
You claim that there's sort of pseudoscience or false science.
It's not a claim. It's absolutely the case that it's not even, you can't even call it pseudoscience because it's not science. It's just driven by a set of ideological presuppositions, the most pernicious of which is that the best way to understand history and understand people is as a consequence of their group identity, which is unbelievably dangerous because what it does is push us back towards a tribal direction. You know, one of the things that I love about England, about the UK in general, is that over the course of any reasonable historical development, Britain developed the idea of the sovereignty of the individual and instantiated that into the political system so that...
No, Sharon, you don't feel like you're being oppressed by men? It's not some conspiracy? All the men got together and decided we're going to oppress women. That's not what's happening?
Identity,
the left,
which is
the left is pretty sure about this.
Unbelievably dangerous because what it does is push us back towards a tribal direction. You know, one of the things that it isn't, and you don't have.
Well, I'd read.
Let's see what she says.
And I was very interested.
Elections. What do you say to that?
Here we go.
Well, I suppose my question is: you call yourself a sort of classic British liberal. And I was very interested to see that description of you. And I'm also fascinated by your book about, dealing with the chaos in which, as you yourself say, men find themselves in, or it's predominantly aimed at men.
No,
and
it's
I think
not,
that.
but
I'd read an article with you in which you sort of said, well, yes, it probably is mainly men. So that's what I'm basing that on. I think so. Taking all that into account, why do you think it is that so much of what you say is so very popular with the alt-right?
It isn't, and you don't have any evidence for that at all. More than the evidence that alt-right people
Daily
watch this
Stormer,
show.
Neonite website,
that's
Savior
the one
of
I'm
Western
going on.
Civilization.
Oh well,
Dang,
that was all taken.
He's getting right into it. Thank you, Eric. He's saying smash the like button. Thank you, guys. Sharon says, I like strong men and I cannot lie. She didn't say the cannot lie part. I did. I threw that in there for her. W. Sharon, dude. W. Sharon. And Yekat says, same, Sharon.
Apart today by a number of Jewish publications, by the way, showing that, first of all, that was all satirical commentary on the part of the alt-right, directed at taking me down, for example. And there was an alt-right article yesterday published saying that I was a Jewish stooge and shill. So well, this is absolute nonsense, and I don't appeal primarily to the alt-right. There's no evidence for that at all. It's the proclivity of...
I never said primarily, Jordan. What I'm interested in is why you think that you get the reaction that you do from the alt-right. Looking at the Kathy Newman documentary.
What reaction?
Interview.
There's 10 million people watched that and commented on it.
I'm talking about what I saw, and I'm curious to know what your reaction was to the glee with which the alt-right seized upon that issue.
I don't accept. Shall we deal with the death threats? I mean, she had, I think, a dozen.
I don't accept the concept that it was the alt-right that was doing this. There were 10 million people who commented on that video, and about 95% of them commented negatively on Kathy Newman's behavior. You think there's 10 million alt-right trolls watching that?
Did you not? You accused her of spinning a victim narrative in an interview with the Radio Times.
You mean what Kathy did afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what happened.
But wasn't that because Kathy Newman, for quite a while, and she's a great accomplished journalist,
well said,
just sat there looking at you with her mouth open and slowly closing like a goldfish, because she didn't know what to say. And so she was coming back afterwards and making the point, well, actually, I did know what to say, but I was giving you time, or words said.
But given what she said, I'm going to find that and kill her. I'm going to find that and execute her. Is that spinning a victim narrative when you get that popping up in your Twitter inbox?
Well, it depends on what happened with Channel 4 was that they put the whole interview up, which was quite a shock to me because I didn't think they would. And then people were vitriolically opposed to what had happened. And so there were hundreds of thousands of comments. And when you get hundreds of thousands of comments, there's going to be some subset like this. And people did analysis of these comments, by the way, and showed that the bulk of the ones that were vitriolic in terms of percentages were actually directed at me, not at her. And it was in the best interests of the Channel 4 people to spin this as a victim narrative, because that's what they do anyways, but to construe Kathy Newman, who's...
Did you get death threats, though?
I've had death threats. I don't know if I got them specifically because of that interview, because I hadn't said anything contentious, but that certainly happened to me. And seriously enough, so the university increased security around my office. But, I mean, when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with millions of people's comments, then there's going to be a percentage of them that are produced by people who are, well, not mentally well to begin with. And I also tweeted out afterwards.
And just so you guys know, I've gotten death threats too. Probably nowhere near as many as he's gotten, but I've gotten them.
You know, after this...
It's a pretty interesting thing. It's pretty wild.
Gone on for a couple of days, I tweeted out something asking people to lay off her because enough was enough.
Yes, you
know?
did. Yes.
But I can tell you from my own experience that about half the people on Twitter are not mentally well. So that goes as standard.
Yeah, well, it's about 1 in 20 or 1 in 30 in the general population. Right. So, you know, you're going to expect
I think it's comments. Well, I mean, actually, I remember the former government chief whip, Patrick McLaughlin, saying, and he's a great man, he says that about a third of the UK population, and this is a serious point, have some form of mental illness. And he was saying to me that as a government chief whip, we're always being told that MPs should represent the general population, and there is no doubt that there's an over-representation among MPs in that area.
That's something for you.
Well, that's a good thing.
I'll probably now get a lot of Twitter hatred mail.
Forgive me, because I've got to jump in, because it seems only fair, as we dragged Jordan over from Canada, we should mention this. This is the 12 Rules for Life, an antidote to chaos. Rule number 1, stand up straight with your shoulders back. Now, the question I've written is, how is that an antidote to chaos? I share that view. I think if you carry yourself, you project confidence, and confidence wins people over. Is that your thing?
I think not only does...
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Does it win people over? It orients you properly in the world. I mean, to stand up straight with your shoulders back is actually to adopt a stance that in some sense is maximally vulnerable. It's not a defensive crouch. It sort of exposes you to the world. And the clinical literature on that sort of thing is clear. If you want to move towards mental health, then what you want to do is voluntarily confront the things that you're afraid of and are avoiding. And so it's a matter of courage, not of power, and of willingness to take on your own vulnerability and fragility. And that does broadcast that confidence to other people, and that's a good way of making your way through life.
I have to say, by the way, compared to some of the more academic...
State Line, what's up, buddy? How are you, man? Good to have you, dude. I don't know if you came earlier or not. I wasn't paying attention. Oh, yeah, there you are. Sorry, bro. Good to have you, bro.
Pieces you can see on Twitter.
Thanks for sharing the Discord. Yeah, our Discord is pretty active now, man. It's hard to even keep up with it, but it's doing good. We're getting it even more organized, but a lot of us talk offline there, so it's pretty fun.
This is quite an easy read, quite engaging, so thank you for
thank
that.
you. Yeah,
very easy read.
That's good.
It made me sit up straight, by the way, as you were saying.
There we go.
Glad to hear.
That's good.
Now, Sophie.
Yes.
You told my researcher that Donald Trump is your chief recruiting officer.
Yes.
How so?
Well, I mean, we set
By the way, random, it was you that's into geology, right?
this party up 3 years ago because we saw what has subsequently been the case, that we saw it coming, this big upsurge of reclaiming space for women, if you like. There's a huge frustration that so much of our politics doesn't reflect women's lives, doesn't reflect women's experiences. And that has a really negative impact in the policy making that happens. We only have to look at the impact of austerity, for example, 10 years of austerity policies that had an overwhelmingly disproportionate impact on women. Women paid 85p in every pound. So women were basically being asked to pay the national debt through those cuts to benefits and changes to the tax system. And so what we wanted to say was, look, actually, this system is broken.
So, dude, check it out. Random, you said you were into geology. I showed you the watches, right? Did I ever show you the lapis lazuli watch? Did I ever show you that one? You came a little bit later on the stream. I showed at the very beginning of the stream today. Dude, I got invited to the new grand opening of the Piaget store out here in Orange County. They just opened a new store. It was a grand opening today. And so they had me go down there and check it out. We went there with Miss Medication. And so I haven't showed you this. I've showed you this piece. This was one of those custom pieces I got. That's the malachite. You've seen that one. The blue face is this one right here. Let me go like this. So you can see that. That right there is lapis lazuli on rose gold. So I know you're into like metals and stone. Here, let me just do a better look there. That's the Piaget lapis lazuli with rose. That's one of my favorite ones, man. So that's that one. Now they had me come to the store. That's why I'm wearing this button-down shirt this time. But check out this piece right here. Let me show you this. So this was on display. The actual president of Piaget was there, along with the guy that runs all of North America. This is these are their special, very unique one-off watches that they make. They make custom made. This piece right here is mine. It's the white gold with the malachite actual green stone dial. This piece in the middle is the newest piece they just released 2 days ago. Let me pull chat up so I can see it. Yeah, random. The blue is nuts, bro. But just real quick, I'll show you the blue one again. It's super deep blue with gold flecks in it. But this Piaget in the middle, that's the one I posted. That's the one I posted notes. I don't know. This one right here is one that they just released on their own Instagram. It's their homage to Andy Warhol. And Andy Warhol, I did a self-portrait with these three colors, and these are four stones. So if you look at this, this is on black onyx going around it. And then this is pink, I forgot what that is, bro. Opal. It's pink opal in the center. And then there's two other stones on the sides. They're put together like puzzle pieces. So the black onyx is cut like a puzzle piece, and then they put these puzzle pieces in, and they're actual real stone on a yellow gold case and a green dial. So that's really cool. This is another stone here. I forgot what stone this one is right here. But this is the one they were showing me. They're only making 50 of them. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. How much is the new watch running out for? Boo Boo, this watch that they're selling is 74,000, and they're making only 50 of them. Okay, it's a limited edition to 50 in the world. They've already sold 27, and I gotta let them know by tomorrow or I believe Friday latest if I want one, and they're gonna make sure I get one if I do want one. So this particular one is 74,000. And then this one that I have, the white gold, I think is right around like 60 some thousand. Yeah. So this one that you see on the screen is the same one and I'm not trying to show off. I'm just showing you what I did today. This is where I was today. And you'll see pictures. I'll show you pictures of me here. This is me trying on a different watch that they have. So this is a white gold, all white gold, the whole band and everything. It's a beautiful piece. I really like this. I'm trying to decide. My next piece is either going to be this one right here or this one right here. This is all gold, like actual yellow gold. So I really like this. It's a little Guido, but I haven't had a watch like solid gold like this. So I'm just kind of like, this is me kind of geeking out a little bit, wearing the same shirt I was just wearing. Let me pull up my chat. Yeah. Yeah, it's retro looking. Exactly, State Line. It's you know what I'm talking about. Actually, here's the funny part is I have an uncle that has uber super insanely successful. He bought this watch that you're seeing on my screen right now. He bought this watch 35 years ago or 40 years ago and still wears it to this day. But it's the old 1980s version of it. So it's very cool. It's got kind of a little bit of a history because whenever I saw my uncle, he was always wearing that. How many buttons undone? Too many, bro. I ride it low, man. I ride it low, dog. Elmo. I was out there, bro. I was out there with Miss Medication. Here's Miss Medication. Trying on some of the stuff that we're looking at. This is one of the necklace. This is one of the so this one right. Can you see it on your screen here? Yeah, you can see this bangle is the one that we really like. It's a turquoise actual stone on a rose gold bangle, and then they had this watch which is also turquoise, and inside the dial it's actual stone. And there was a ring too that she's not wearing in this. Oh, there she is wearing it. It's right here. There's a matching ring right there, which is really cool. So anyway, this guy is Manuel. He runs North America, and then there's the president above him, which was also there, and he's showing these watches now. He's wearing my watch, but with rose gold, which is again one of my favorite watches because I love green. But he's showing us this piece here, which is their brand new, cool, really amazing piece. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys this. This is what we're doing. We went out and had a little fun. This is Miss Medication wearing that watch. And here's another close up. Look at how they put these pieces together. Look at that. A real natural stone. So anyway, guys, just wanted to kind of show you guys little insights, like kind of little, I don't know, what I'm doing in my personal life. And I guess it's a little showing off too. It's all good. Fuck it. We'll do that. No biggie. And then also, let me pull this up. This right here, let me see, Piaget IG. So you could see this right here. This is that watch. And then this right here, oh, you can't even see it. What the hell? Oh, you're looking at a different screen. Here is the screen right here. Let's see here. Benjamin says, yeah, the turquoise is fire. Goddamn, this is a good camera. Yeah, it's a really good camera, bro. You better tell him, watch out. I know, bro. He knows, bro. We're good friends. We know each other. We hung out together. We've become good friends. Me and these PJ guys, definitely Manuel that runs North America. He's from out in New York. So he's out. He's stationed in New York, but he runs all of North America. We're good buds, dude. He's a good cat. But check this out, man. This is that watch that I was telling you about, the Andy Warhol. Oh, where is the art piece? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is this it? Yeah, here you go. Look at this. Oh, no. Hold on. Oh, this is not letting me do it in this screen. Shoot, guys, sorry. Damn, my bad. Anyway, they had something on there where they were showing how the watch is made, and I thought it was here. It is here. Check this out. This is how they made that watch. Look at this. Look at all these different pieces. These are the random, since you love the stones and precious metals. Look, this is how they made that watch. This is super cool. And you'll see it again. They get the 3 pieces, they cut them out, and every single one of these watches is unique, and they're limited to 50 pieces total worldwide. So they do the cutout. Super cool. Look at that. Very cool. Anyway, guys, a little bit of that, just to kind of switch things up a little bit. Little intermission, little palette cleanser. That one you were just on. Yep. Each piece will be similar but unique. Exactly, because they're actual real stone. So every single piece is unique to itself. That's why this piece. Let me show you this one again. Random. Check it out, bro. So this is. Let's do a zoom in. This right here is the lapis lazuli, and you could, at the right angle, you could see the gold flecks in it, and you could see I wore it a lot. I already banged it up. Look at this corner. Look at this right down here by my finger. I already banged it up a couple times. I wear things. I don't like to buy things to put them in a safe. Although a lot of my pieces are in a safe because I've collected classic antique watches. But this is just that beautiful lapis lazuli stone. Just a nice piece. Yeah. This is a beautiful little piece. Love this thing, man. Wore this a lot. Okay, so boom. Anyway, dude, that's that. And
it's not working. There's a lot of chaos, as Jordan points out. There's a lot of people feeling frustrated and unhappy, and that their voices aren't being heard.
And Trump, how does he fit into this?
Well, because I think Trump is the perfect example that progress is not linear, right? And when power is threatened, it doubles down and protects itself by insisting that by sort of exaggerating. We've got a very exaggerated version now of white male power in Trump, and actually what's happened is that.
Jeanette says, you better put a ring on her finger before someone else does. I already did. We're getting married next year.
That has had, I think that has.
I had to not be a beta male. I had to be an alpha male. Put a nice ring on it. We went to Italy and locked it up.
Has had a positive impact in terms of galvanizing the women's movement.
Okay.
And there is an understanding that we have to not just protect the rights and protections that we want and we have, but we have to continue to protect them against attempts to dismantle them, as we're seeing in America, where women's reproductive rights are being rolled back by state after state after state. But we also have to continue.
Oh, you're saying the green stone? I don't know what the green is either.
To confront
Thank you,
intolerance and discomfort, and make sure that we are bringing people into the conversation. And that's really what I'm trying to do in this job. I am trying to offer different choices.
Okay, I get that. Is it a problem for Brexit, Scotland's vote?
Well, look, I grew up in Scotland, and I think there's an awful lot of people in Scotland who are.
So I want to play this. I was told to play this one right here. Let me play something real quick. Let me see here. Which one is it? It is this one right here. Boom, boom, boom.
Speaker Johnson already said today marks the 21st day of the Schumer shutdown. Democrats' political games are hurting hardworking Americans.
Miss Medication wanted me to play this for you guys.
This Speaker Johnson already said today marks the 21st day of the Schumer shutdown. Democrats' political games are hurting hardworking Americans.
Random, you're absolutely right. That's the name of the stone that they said chrysoprase or something like that. Yep, you're 100% correct because I remember when they told me the name.
This week, essential federal workers won't receive their paychecks because Democrats voted against paying them. That includes Border Patrol, CBP agents, TSA, FAA staff, DOD civilians, FEMA responders, and Capitol Police officers. The
Listen to what he says.
majority
Check
of
this
Americans oppose this Democrat shutdown. Democrats know it, so they're trying to distract from the fact that they shut down the government by pushing a false narrative about President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Let me be clear. No one is protecting Epstein or his associates. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's handling of the Epstein investigation, one that goes far beyond the discharge petition the legacy media is obsessed with. To date, the Oversight Committee has released over 43,000 pages of documents and issued 13 subpoenas. We've conducted a deposition with former U.S. Attorney.
Holy shit, you were right about serpentine too. That's what those stones are. Serpentine, the chrysoprase, and it's a pink opal, and it's onyx. It's those four stones.
General Bill Barr, and a transcribed interview with former U.S. Labor Secretary.
Hell yeah. Boo Boo says, I love that Miss Medi is on board with MAGA. Good for you, Medi. Yeah, it's a good combo, bro. Yeah, opal. Yeah, sorry, pink opal. Yep.
Alex Acosta. I don't think I need to remind anyone in here. They are both Republicans and both former cabinet secretaries in the Trump administration. And guess what? Those interviews completely debunked the Democrat smear against President Trump. Barr stated that there was no evidence that President Trump was involved in Epstein's criminal activity.
You hear that? No evidence that Trump was involved with Epstein's activity. I want to keep going with this. But random, I like rocks too, bro. As you can tell, man, my favorite all-time watches that I wear, all it is a stone on the dial, bro. Literally just a freaking stone on the dial. You can't even tell what time it is, bro. Look at this watch. Look at this watch, man, and try to tell me what time it is right now. Most people can't read time on this watch, bro. Most people cannot tell. Well, every time I look at this watch, it's tough to tell. But I love stones, bro. Real, actual, natural stones. You and I both, man.
Acosta confirmed there was no contact with President Trump during the Florida case. No link, no conversations, nothing. Despite these facts, Democrats, especially Ranking Member Garcia, continue to spread lies.
That's right, brother. It's 9:20. It's 9:20 out here in California. You can see that right there. That is 9:20 right there. Dang, Elmo. Holy cow.
Once on the Democrat Oversight Committee and over
Yeah.
60 times about Epstein. You see where their priorities are. Let's be clear. Democrats don't care about transparency or accountability in this matter. The evidence we've
I gotta play this again, guys. Sorry, I got
Speaker
sidetracked.
Johnson already said today marks the 21st day of the Schumer shutdown. Democrats' political games are hurting hardworking Americans. This week, essential federal workers won't receive their paychecks because Democrats voted against paying them. That includes Border Patrol, CBP agents, TSA, FAA staff, DOD civilians, FEMA responders, and Capitol Police officers. The overwhelming majority of Americans oppose this Democrat shutdown. Democrats know it, so they're trying to distract from the fact that they shut down the government by pushing a false narrative about President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Let me be clear. No one is protecting Epstein or his associates. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's handling of the Epstein investigation, one that goes far beyond the discharge petition the legacy media is obsessed with. To date, the Oversight Committee has released over 43,000 pages of documents and issued 13 subpoenas. We've conducted a deposition with former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr and a transcribed interview with former U.S. Labor Secretary Alex Acosta. I don't think I need to remind anyone in here, they are both Republicans and both former cabinet secretaries in the Trump administration. And guess what? Those interviews completely debunked the Democrat smear against President Trump. Barr stated that there was no evidence that President Trump was involved in Epstein's criminal activity. Acosta confirmed there was no contact with President Trump during the Florida case. No link, no conversations, nothing. Despite these facts, Democrats, especially Ranking Member Garcia, continue to spread lies about President Trump. And they are lies. They're infected with an incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome.
Yep.
Oversight Committee Democrats post daily about Epstein. In fact, they've posted or reposted about Epstein nearly 60 times on X since the shutdown began. You know how many times they posted about essential federal workers not receiving paychecks because they voted against funding the government? Once. They've posted about that once on the Democrat Oversight Committee and over 60 times about Epstein. You see where their priorities are. Let's be clear. Democrats don't care about transparency or accountability in this matter. The evidence we've gathered does not implicate President Trump in any way. Public reporting, survivor testimony, and official documents show that Bill Clinton had far closer ties to Epstein. We're working to bring former President Clinton in for a deposition, but the Democrats aren't helping one bit. You would think, since we've already brought two former Trump cabinet secretaries in, they would be willing to bring in a Democrat who's had publicly a far closer relationship with especially Maxwell and Epstein. So why is that? That's a question every reporter should be asking Ranking Member Garcia and every Democrat on the committee. Why aren't you helping to bring Bill Clinton in for an interview and deposition just like we brought in Barr and Acosta? The Oversight Committee remains committed to accountability and transparency for the American people and for Epstein's victims. Our investigation has not stopped during...
LTNT in the chat says, okay, show us the file. I think they did release more files already.
In this shutdown, we've released more documents just this past Friday. Democrats need to stop playing games and vote to reopen the government. With that, I yield back to the speaker.
Good question, Random. Random says, have you read the files that have been released? No.
Information.
Pretty fed up with watching people in London telling them what they want. And I also think that what we're essentially seeing again is concern about, you know, the Brexit splits that we see throughout the country being reflected throughout different parts.
Another good question. Random says, have you read a single page? Or actually, I'm sorry, he says, you haven't read a single page.
Countries.
The poll, by the way, was done in Scotland, so it's not me. I'm just saying what the poll in Scotland said.
But the point I'm trying to make is that the UK government keeps using Brexit as a way to shore up its centralised power. And I think, the Women's Equality Party wrote an amendment to the Article 50 bill that got the broadest cross-party support of any of the amendments to that bill. Because what we said was we have to ensure that this goes through Parliament.
To freedom of
right?
speech
So when we
trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. Like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
You've connected a lot with a lot of young men, lots of different people, but young men particularly seem to, find something in your message. I'm a young man. I'd like to be improved, please. I want to stop being a pathetic weasel.
Yeah, that would be good. Clean up your room. I don't know how you can go out and protest the structure of the entire economic system if you can't keep your room organized.
What are the limits of that idea, though? Because you can have a lovely clean room, but if for my generation, we're looking down the barrel of climate change, we can't afford a house, some people can't get work, university education's unaffordable. Like there are these huge, massive problems in society and the political economy that are also going to, screw us over in the big picture that the clean room isn't going to necessarily fix.
If you're going to fix complicated problems, you have to learn how to fix simple problems first.
I want to know, what is your answer to young people for some of the really big problems facing humanity, like the climate catastrophe, like economic crisis, like the precarious job market? Because they just don't, you talk all this much about individual responsibility. Most of us are never going to be able to afford to have all of these assets to have responsibility over. So what is your advice beyond banal comments like clean your room?
It's actually rather difficult to answer a question that ends with your comments are banal. Politely. I would consider that more of an opinionated personal and political statement than actually a question. So why don't you try reformulating that so that there's an actual question there?
Get her, Jordan.
A trans woman is a real woman.
I don't.
A trans woman is a real woman.
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
Well, I'm asking you, in your mind, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Damn.
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. Female population now in universities. Got about 3 curiosity. Who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to? Aha. Well, so the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that? Just out of curiosity. What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender.
Do you have any comments on the Nazi?
That's pure reality, dude. That was, woo!
Presence at your protest. The presence of Nazis and white supremacists assaulting people at your protest. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I don't like Nazis.
So,
well, that's highly debatable. That's highly debatable.
Actually,
one
it's
of the things
absolutely true because there's never been a secular humanist government on the planet.
I don't know. I think the Soviets were pretty secular.
No,
humanists.
Then,
I know
with all due apologies, you do not know the first thing about what secular humanism is. You should read the Secular Humanist Manifesto.
I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I've exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you, as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and...
Here it is. Here it is.
I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ah! Gotcha!
Ha! Gotcha.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that out.
History. Written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling...
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that out.
History. Written the idea that...
More power to you, as far as
gotcha!
I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha! Gotcha.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that out.
History. Written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling
that was
theory.
a good one.
They haven't had a great time.
Elmo knows, bro. That was a good one, bro. That was a good one. Ha! Gotcha. Come on now. You try to get our boy, bro?
So you haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha! Feminism. Feminism.
I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha! Gotcha.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that out.
History. Written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling
Come
theory.
and get it,
They haven't
baby.
had a great time, though, have they?
Who is...
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that...
History. Written the idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. They haven't had a great time, though, have they?
Who has had a great time in history?
But men have had less of a
Really?
shitty
Have
time.
they? Have
A lot
they?
of
By
the
what
time.
standard? By what standard?
Well, I'm just saying if you're a woman...
How about war?
But it took longer for women to get the vote, and women belong to their husbands, and in this country, one woman dies every week from domestic violence, a man dies like once a month, I believe, from that same cause. Like, aren't there some clearly obvious things that women are victim of as a result of their gender?
There are inequalities in the catastrophes that the genders are subject to. And so, look, first of all, there's some things we got to get straight. History is a rough business. Everybody had it rough. In 1895, the typical Westerner lived on less than $1 a day, which is absolute poverty by today's standards, right? And so people were brutally poor for almost the entire course of human history. It was rough. You say, well, did men or women have it worse? It's like, well, you know, that's a complicated question. But one of the things you can say is everybody had it pretty damn bad. Marxists say, well, that wasn't real Marxism. What it really means, and I've thought about this for a long time, it's the most arrogant possible statement anyone could ever make. It means if I would have been in Stalin's position, I would have ushered in the damn utopia instead of the genocidal massacres, because I understand the doctrine of Marxism and everything about me is good. It's like, well, think again, sunshine. I'm not suggesting in the least, and have never suggested, that there's no domain for...
Jordan Peterson was by far one of the biggest reasons why I switched from the left to the right.
For social action. I'm suggesting that people who don't have their own houses...
On top of the three big reasons that the Democrats gave me themselves.
...in order should be very careful before they go about reorganizing the world, which happens in many ways. I see a backlash against masculinity and a sense that there's something toxic about masculinity.
What is this idea of being over? Why is society overly feminized?
Well, I didn't ever say that society was overly feminized. So if we're going to discuss my views, we should use my actual words.
Women got full legal rights.
They'll have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by
That was
punitive
another
legislation.
good one, bro.
And when the words that are being...
That was another good one back there, but we'll get back to that. But this is another good one here.
They'll have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation. And when the words that are being required are the constructions, they're artificial constructions of people I regard as radical ideologues whose viewpoint I do not share.
Elmo, the Kamala, Clinton, Biden, that was one of them. The other one's freedom of speech.
That's pure narcissism at work, by the way.
A question for Professor Peterson. Why do you feel that someone's personal gender identity and pronouns infringes your free speech? Can one not also argue, based on your interpretation, that professors can use racial slurs in their classroom and that the inability to do so would violate their freedom of speech?
There's a difference between saying that there's something you can't say and saying that there are things that you have to say. And I regard these made-up pronouns, all of them, as the neologisms of radical PC authoritarians.
Damn.
You understand that? And I'm not a fan of that sort of person. And the reason I'm not a fan of that sort of person is because I've done my homework. I've read everything I can get my hands on in the development of authoritarian political systems, and I know the literature inside out and backwards. And
W. Jordan Peterson, bro.
I am not going to be a mouthpiece for language that I detest. And that's that.
The whole patriarchy thing, I think you have no idea how pernicious and dangerous it is.
Well, no, I don't. I really don't. Go on.
Throughout history.
That one that they just had, that was a good one, bro. He goes at it with her. He goes at it, dude.
Implicitly, the competence, which you don't, you wouldn't have done any better. And even if you had, there would have been someone else waiting right behind you to shoot you the first time you actually, like, well, think again, sunshine. You don't understand it. You don't understand it. And you're not that good. And if the power was in your hands, assuming you had the competence, which you don't, you wouldn't have done any better. And even if you had, there would have been someone else waiting right behind you to shoot you the first time you actually tried to do anything good. And that's what happened to all the old guard who ran the damn revolution. Stalin rounded them all up and shot them, along with their families and millions of other people. So even if you do happen to be that avatar of moral purity that you claim implicitly, the probability that you'd get to act out your goodness in relationship to those possessed by your ideology is zero.
Do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
The Ministry of Women's Affairs in New Zealand and the Minister of Women's Affairs, or the Minister for Women as she's known, suggested recently that there were too many white old men.
Let's look at the jaw, bro.
A trans woman is a woman.
Oh, damn, bro. I just realized the jaw, Elmo. What's up with the jaw? What's going on here, bro? Did she manufacture that jaw? Is it a fake jaw?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
The Ministry of Women's Affairs in New Zealand.
Goodness in relationship to those possessed by your ideology is zero.
Do you?
Damn, bro, look at that. It's like, zoo, zoo. Whoa, bro. Holy cow. Look at that jawline, dude. Holy smokes. Fucking Elmo, bro.
You think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Wow.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
The Ministry of Women's Affairs in New Zealand and the Minister of Women's Affairs, or the Minister for Women as she's known, suggested recently that there were too many white old men on boards in New Zealand of private and public companies, and just suggested that they needed to move aside so there could be more diversity. Your response to that suggestion?
Well, what's her racial and ethnic background, just out of curiosity?
I think she's born in America, Julianne Genter. She's a member of our Green Party here.
Is she white?
Yes.
Well, maybe it's time for her to bloody well move aside and let someone who isn't white have her position.
Damn, bro.
That's pure narcissism at work, by the way. To hijack an event like this that other people put time and effort into, and to use their civility of the crowd and the civility of the organizers as an excuse to blatantly yell out your ill-informed opinions is no way to conduct a civil dialogue. It's absolutely appalling. The people who do that should be embarrassed.
Why should your right to freedom of
This one right here? Randoms, you didn't see this one?
speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have
but you get
exercised
my
my freedom of
point.
speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and
do
that is
you-
what you should do. But
And
you're
do you
exercising
think-
your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
I choose life. Good night. See ya. Thank you.
Ha, gotcha.
you have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work
about
that through in
time.
my head.
Video, you said that the problem with those angry women is that since at the end of the argument you cannot fight physically, you can't really deal with them.
That's not what I said. I said that that's one of the things that keeps conversation between men civil. Women can't argue with angry women. Women are often bullied by angry women.
What I meant was more, you said that, and I'm really like not trying to paraphrase you or to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
It is things that you said that you cannot deal with those.
Yes, but don't tell me
crazy
that you're not
sisters
trying to
because
put
they're
words into my
hysterical
mouth
and
because
all
you've
this.
selected what you're going to ask, and you selected it very carefully with a tremendous amount of forethought.
Well,
and there's a purpose for that. What is the purpose precisely?
I am quoting things that you said.
Why? What is it that you're trying to establish?
Because you said that.
I thought we were talking about masculinity.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
How are we talking about masculinity?
Because I'm asking you what you think of men and of women.
No, basically what you've been trying to do, I would say, for the last 15 minutes is put me into a sequence of corners by accusing me of various forms of misbehavior. So why are we doing that? What's the point here?
These are things that you said. My
That's not
job
my
as a
question.
journalist is to ask questions about what you represent and the ideas that you defend.
Your
isn't it?
job is also to select the things that you might ask about in some manner that doesn't indicate a substantive bias. You picked 3 things to talk to me about in the last 20 minutes that were very carefully selected. Like, why did you pick those things?
Because this is my job.
No, not necessarily. You could be asking me, for example, why I've spoken to 250,000 people live in the last 8 months. That might be more newsworthy.
Well, we're not going to have a big debate about journalism, but if a journalist doesn't ask the tough questions, how can you give the good answers?
But it depends on what the tough questions are. It depends on
I didn't
whether
think
or
that
not
they
they're-
would be tough. We're talking about things that you said. I mean, if it's easier to have conversation between men, because there is this underlying threat, of a physical contact.
I don't think it's easier. It tends to be somewhat more civil. One of the things that the postmodernists,
Damn, dude, he got
postmodern
him
neo-Marxists
good, bro.
continually claim
He got him. He was on him on that one.
is that they have nothing but compassion for the downtrodden. And I would say that anybody with more than a cursory knowledge of 20th century history who dares to claim simultaneously that they have compassion
Literally, stay line.
for the downtrodden and that they're Marxists are revealing either an ignorance of history that's so astounding that it's actually a form of miracle, or a kind of malevolence that's so reprehensible that it's almost unspeakable. Because we already ran the equity experiment over the course of the 20th century, and we already know what the Marxist doctrines have done for oppressed people all around the world. And the answer to that mostly was imprison them, enslave them, work them to death, or execute them. And as far as I can tell, that's not precisely commensurate with any message of
Janet, I don't think you're the only female here. We got 420 people watching right now.
compassion. And so I don't think that the postmodern neo-Marxists have a leg to stand on ethically or intellectually or emotionally.
Guys, is Janet the only female here? Any other females watching right now? Say hello.
And I think that they should be gone after as hard as possible. There's absolutely no excuse whatsoever in the 21st century to put forth Marxist doctrines. Sorry, tried that, didn't work. We got 100 million corpses to prove it, and that's plenty for me. And if it's not enough for you, well then you should do some serious thinking either about your historical knowledge or about your moral character.
I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male. And we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic analysis.
Why
What's up, Crystal? Good to have you.
are you against the use of alternate pronouns?
I'm against the use of legislation to determine what words that myself and other people are
This guy on the right is a chick. Is a trans.
Required to utter.
But would you use alternate pronouns if a student asked you to?
I think I've made my position on that clear already.
Well, perhaps not to our audience at home.
I'm pretty sure.
Who are just being introduced to this. Would you use alternate pronouns? And why not?
Because I don't believe that other people have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation. And when the words that are being required are the constructions, they're artificial constructions of people I regard as radical ideologues whose viewpoint I do not share. I'm talking about compelled speech. There's a difference between saying that there's something you can't say and saying that there are things that you have to say. And I regard these made-up pronouns, all of them, as the neologisms of radical PC authoritarians. Do you understand that? And I'm not a fan of that sort of person. And the reason I'm not a fan of that sort of person is because I've done my homework. I've read everything I can get my hands on in the development of authoritarian political systems, and I know the literature inside.
And I plan to read everything I can get my hands on too. I've ordered 5 books in the last 2 days, more than I'm like a book collector at this point, but I plan to read them all, so I can't wait. And there's also, guys, if you're ever wondering, there's a place on Jordan Peterson's website where he has a list of books that he recommends reading. Jordan Peterson recommended books to read. Book list. Here you go. This is Jordan. If you go to his website, you can find a list of books that he recommends to read. And one of the books you guys recommended me read, Sharon, in the chat right now. Oh yeah, Sharon's a girl too. There's a bunch of girls. Sharon recommended I read this book, and I actually literally bought it right at the beginning of the stream that we're on right now. Number 2. You see that number 2 right there? 1984 by George Orwell. That's one of them right there. Sharon is sharing the chat with us. And this is a list of books that he recommends you read. There's a lot of good books. Crime and Punishment, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Brave New World. You guys recommended Brave New World. I remember that earlier in the chat. Beyond Good and Evil. I have that book right here. I haven't read it yet, but I have it. There's a bunch of books there. Gulag Archipelago. Has anybody read Gulag Archipelago? Anybody? It's a big book. I haven't read it yet. I started it, and then I put it down. No way, State Line. You read it? I haven't read it yet. It's a monster book, guys. It's like one of those big ones. Let me see here if I can do this with my headphones in. State Line says he's read all of this. Wow, bro. Holy smokes, State Line. What is going on? This is the Gulag Archipelago. Look at this book, how big it is, dude. Look, this is Beyond Good and Evil next to Gulag Archipelago. Look at that. Look at that, dude. This is a monster book. And then look at the size of the writing in here. And then look at the size of the writing in here. Like this thing is a monster, dude. And you can see where I kind of about how far I got into it. And then right there. State Line, dude, what the hell? State Line, you read all of Solzhenitsyn? I haven't read Crime and Punishment, bro. It's behind me. I want to read it. Wow, bro. I can't believe it. State Line, that's incredible, bro. Holy cow. Wow. Holy cow, State Line. W State Line, dude. Jesus. That is incredible. What is this? The State Line is fully booked. Yeah, dude. So State Line, is this a good list or what? Is this a good list? Crystal says, did you know there is an online library that's free? I did not know that, but I love having nice books in my hand. And lately I've been ordering only hardcover books that, I just love the feeling of a nice book in my hand and, the words on a page. I journal a lot, as you guys already know, if you guys that know me. I journal a lot. This is my journal. And I do a ton of journaling. And now I'm doing more reading than I've ever done. And it's exciting. I really love it. Wow. Maybe average 500 to 1,000 books a year? What? No. That's more than one book a day. How's that possible? You mean pages? No, he means books. State Line, that's incredible, bro. Did you absorb all of it? Oh my God, bro. State Line says, check out that Moral Arc too. Moral Arc. What is Moral Arc? This book right here? How Science and Reason Led Humanity Towards Truth, Justice, and Freedom. Holy cow, man. This is a good one, huh? Buy this one? Should I buy it? Slybuster says Shermer is a tard. What does that mean? State Line, how is it? So you're saying this is a really good book? Get this one? I'm about to buy it, bro. The hardcover. Biden? All right. Hardcover, 18 bucks. Let's go. Let's go, bro. Sweet, bro. I got it. Sanaa says, haha, boo boo, comparison is the thief of joy, but wow, these overachieving machines. Wow, bro. Okay. Dude, here we go. State Line, did you absorb and really take in what all these books said, all those books you read? Like what is that like, bro? That's insane. That is insane, bro. Okay, well, we'll talk later. Let me get through some books. Look, I want to get through some Thomas Sowell. I want to get through some economics. I want to get through some cultural stuff. I want to get through some like historic, like American history stuff, and why we are where we are, how we got here, how how did it all start, and how did that go, and all that kind of stuff. I want to learn a lot about like actual like facts and stuff, bro. Nonfiction.
Let me take off the EU framework. All that
right out and backwards, and I am not going to be a mouthpiece for language
The Medici effect.
that I detest, and that's that.
Why do you think it is that so much of what you say is so very popular with the alt-right?
It isn't. And you don't have any evidence for that at all. Any more than the evidence that alt-right people
Daily
watch this
Stormer,
show.
Neonite website, Savior of Western Civilization.
Oh, well, that was all taken apart today by a number of Jewish publications, by the way, showing that, first of all, that was all satirical commentary on the part of the alt-right, directed at taking me down, for example. And there was an alt-right article.
Fucking State Line, bro. He says, I know exactly where we've been and where we're headed with some variables to consider. I love that, bro. We got to chat more, man. We got to chat more. Do you want to jump on live real quick? State Line, have you read The Medici Effect? Tiger says, I like raw meat. Hey, Miss Medication, I had raw meat today. We ate some raw meat today, bro. Yeah, we had some, what do you call it? Carpaccio. Carpaccio, bro. Boo Boo says exactly, Sailing. That's why I ended up in DC on January 6th. Dang. He says, no thanks. It's downstairs. Got a pile I haven't gotten to yet. State Line, have you read The Medici Effect? It's got a part of my name in it, Medi. Yeah, no, maybe so. I've got it, but haven't read it. Yeah, okay. But haven't read, okay. Charles Darwin. I had Charles Darwin's book, and I read most of it, and then didn't finish it, and then I lost the book. Okay, I'm buying that too. Here you go. Hardcover on its way. $25 shipped Amazon. It'll be here. When will it be here, bro? It'll be here Friday. Vámonos. Vámonos, way. Tiger is Italian as well? Hell yeah. W Tiger, bro. We got engaged in Italy. I bought this in Italy. I bought this thing in Italy. Dark Star Rising. Slybuster, I feel like I'm not sure, bro. Dark Star Rising. It says right here, bro. I'm reading the reviews on Amazon. It says here, buy this book if you're a beta male. Is that true? Slybuster?
Beta.
It says only buy this book if you consider yourself a beta male. Got you, bro. Within the concentric circles of Trump's regime lies an unseen culture of acolytes. I was right, bro. It is. It's a beta male book. It's straight beta male book, bro. Power seekers and mind magicians who influence is on the rise in the propeller. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, guys. What is going on, you guys? Dark Star Rising. Let me ask AI, is it a beta male book? I'm reading 48 Laws of Power right now, Crystal. Good call though. I'm actually literally reading it right now. I'm on law number 2. Yeah. Yeah. I'm reading 2 books right now. I have 1 book at the gym that I leave at the gym at my locker, and then I have 1 book here. And right here, I'm reading 48 Laws of Power. At the gym, I'm reading From the Underground. Dostoevsky. All right.
Yesterday published saying that I was a Jewish stooge and shill. So, well, this is absolute nonsense, and I don't appeal primarily to the alt-right. There's no evidence for that at all. It's the proclivity of...
Sharon says, my father helped build the Enola Gay in World War II and kept all pieces of information and parts of the plane that bombed Hiroshima. Wow.
I never said, said primarily, Jordan, what I'm interested in.
Janet, the planet, you are the 49th law of power?
Is what
I don't know. I'm reading the 48 laws of power.
Why you think that you get the reaction that you do from the alt-right, looking at, the Cathy Newman documentary.
What reaction?
Interview.
There's 10 million people watched that and commented on it.
I'm talking about what I saw, and I'm curious to know what your reaction was to the glee with which the alt-right seized upon that.
I don't accept.
Should we deal with the death threats? I mean, she had, I think, a dozen.
I don't accept the concept that it was the alt-right that was doing this. There were 10 million people who commented on that video, and about 95% of them commented negatively on Cathy Newman's behavior. You think there's 10 million alt-right trolls watching that?
We are challenging inequality. We are challenging the refusal to see me as an individual. When we overcome that, have at it, we're all on equal plane.
I think it's fine. I think it's good. The pot is getting stirred here.
I've got a couple of questions.
So let's your side spoke, so I'm going to go to Jordan, then to you,
Let's
Michelle.
assume for a moment that I've benefited from my white privilege. Okay, so let's assume that. That's fine.
Assumption.
That's what you would say. So, so let's say, here, let's get precise about this, okay?
Was that very individual of you?
Let's get precise about this, okay?
Let's get precise.
To what degree is my present level of attainment or achievement a consequence of my white privilege? And I don't mean sort of. I mean, do you mean 5%? Do you mean 15%? Do you mean 25%? Do you mean 75%? And what do you propose I do about it? How about a tax? How about a tax that's like specialized for me so that I can account for my damn privilege, so that I can stop hearing about it? Now, let's get precise about one other thing, okay? We'll get precise about one other thing. Now,
precise?
Yeah, precise, yes. And so, if we can agree, and we haven't, that the left can go too far, which it clearly can, then how would my worthy opponents precisely define when the left that they stand for has gone too far? You didn't like equity, equality of outcome. I think that's a great marker. But if you have a better suggestion and won't sidestep the question, so let's figure out how I can dispense with my white privilege, and so that you can tell me when the left has gone too far, since they clearly can. And that's what this debate is about political correctness. It's about the left going too far. And I think it's gone too far in many ways. And I'd like to...
I don't agree. I don't think he's kind of a dick. I think he's a real man who's not afraid to speak his mind and risk being offensive.
Figure out exactly how and when, so the reasonable left could make its ascendance again and we could quit all this nonsense.
You may not realize it, but you are currently funding some dangerous people. They are indoctrinating young minds throughout the West with their resentment-ridden ideology. They have made it their life's mission to undermine Western civilization itself, which they regard as corrupt, oppressive, and patriarchal. If you're a taxpayer or paying for your kid's liberal arts degree, you're underwriting this gang of nihilists. You're supporting ideologues who claim that all truth is subjective, that all sex differences are socially constructed, and that Western imperialism is the sole source of all third world problems. They are the postmodernists, pushing progressive activism at a college near you. They produce the mobs that violently shut down campus speakers, the language police who enshrine into law use of fabricated gender pronouns, and the deans whose livelihoods depend on madly rooting out discrimination, where little or none exists. Their thinking took hold in Western universities in the 60s and 70s, when the true believers of the radical left became the professors of today. And now we rack up education-related debt, not so that our children learn to think critically, write clearly, or speak properly, but so they can model their mentor's destructive agenda. It's now possible to complete an English degree and never encounter Shakespeare, one of those dead white males whose works underlie our society of oppression. To understand and oppose the postmodernists, the ideas by which they orient themselves must be clearly identified. First is their new unholy trinity of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity is defined not by opinion, but by race, ethnicity, or sexual identity. Equity is no longer the laudable goal of equality of opportunity, but the insistence on equality of outcome. And inclusion is the use of identity-based quotas to attain this misconceived state of equity. All the classic rights of the West are to be considered secondary to these new values. Take, for example, freedom of speech, the very pillar of democracy. The postmodernists refuse to believe that people of goodwill can exchange ideas and reach consensus. Their world is instead a Hobbesian nightmare of identity groups warring for power. They don't see ideas that run contrary to their ideology as simply incorrect. They see them as integral to the oppressive system they wish to supplant, and consider it a moral obligation to stifle and constrain their expression. Second is rejection of the free market, of the very idea that free voluntary trading benefits everyone. They won't acknowledge that capitalism has lifted up hundreds of millions of people, so they can, for the first time in history, afford food, shelter, clothing, transportation, even entertainment and travel. Those classified as poor in the U.S. and increasingly everywhere else are able to meet their basic needs. Meanwhile, in once prosperous Venezuela, until recently the poster child of the campus radicals, the middle class lines up for toilet paper. Third and finally are the politics of identity. Postmodernists don't believe in individuals. You're an exemplar of your race, sex, or sexual preference. You're also either a victim or an oppressor. No wrong can be done by anyone in the former group, and no good by the latter. Such ideas of victimization do nothing but justify the use of power and engender intergroup conflict. All these concepts originated with Karl Marx, the 19th century German philosopher. Marx viewed the world as a gigantic class struggle, the bourgeoisie against the proletariat, the grasping rich against the desperate poor. But wherever his ideas were put into practice, in the Soviet Union, China, Vietnam, and Cambodia, to name just a few, whole economies failed and tens of millions were killed. We fought a decades-long Cold War to stop the spread of those murderous notions. But they're back
in the new guise of identity politics. The corrupt ideas of the postmodern neo-Marxists should be consigned to the dustbin of history. Instead, we underwrite their continuance in the very institutions where the central ideas of the West should be transmitted across the generations. Unless we stop, postmodernism will do to America and the entire Western world what it's already done to its universities.
I just read a paper that said that mathematics is whiteness. I didn't know that mathematics could have a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, there's nothing illogical about these claims once you accept the central axioms. The axioms are straightforward. The world is a battleground of power hierarchies. That's what it is. There isn't anything else outside of that. And each power hierarchy generates its own internal narrative, including rules for what constitutes evidence, that support and buttress.
Good night, Sharon. Good to have you, Sharon.
The structure of that hierarchy. And because the hierarchies exclude, then it's in the best interests of the people who are excluded to invert the hierarchy. And of course, they also regard that as just, even though that's part of the incoherence of the entire argument. That's where they have to turn to Marxism. But make no mistake about it. This isn't accidental. It isn't people misunderstanding what constitutes evidence. Not at all.
So when you and, say, Sam Harris argue about religion, you're arguing about fundamentally different things, it sounds like. His conception of what is religious is very different from yours.
Yeah, well, he tends to think of religious thought the same way that a smart 13-year-old atheist thinks about a fundamentalist Christian. It's like, yeah, okay. You're just not getting to the heart of the matter. You know, and I just finished reading all of Sam's books in the last couple of weeks.
What's up, Wendy? I'm from California, too. I'm in Orange County. How about you?
And as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't ever get to the bottom of the issue. He doesn't address the fundamental thinkers. There are some profound thinkers. Dostoevsky's one, Tolstoy, Nietzsche, Jung. It's like they're completely absent from, and the same with Dawkins. It's completely absent. All that conceptualization is completely absent from their corpus of works. They don't even have an understanding for the psychological utility of religion. And it's a big problem. You know, you don't get to be an atheist when the people you attack are like naive fundamentalists. And I have some sympathy for the naive fundamentalists. It's like what they're basically saying is something like this. Look, we have an ethos that's valuable. You scientist types are casually dismantling it. What the hell are we supposed to do? Well, the fundamentalists don't know what to do about that. So they say, well, creationism is science. It's like, well, no, it's not. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a point. Their point is there's something valuable here. It's like, don't break it casually. What are you going to replace it with? The new atheists wish that everybody becomes rational. It's like, yeah, sure, that's going to happen.
I think more how we raise them, how we live, education, sort of culture, attitudes form a human being.
There she is again.
Whether or not they are a girl or a boy when they grow up. Mm-hmm. And if I raise my daughter to become a leader, to be self-confident, to have a high education, for instance, I think she will have a good platform to become a civil engineer, to become a CEO of a company, or to become a nurse.
Well, that is what people who think that the differences between people who are primarily culturally constructed believe, but it's not what the evidence suggests.
You've talked a lot in defense of traditional hierarchies, both of gender, of class, so on, though emphatically not of race. And so it seems that...
I haven't talked about defense of traditional hierarchies in terms of gender and class. That's not true.
Well, you've talked about hierarchies in society. You've talked
about...
Yeah,
that's true. I have done that. But I haven't justified them on the basis of gender and class. Whatever the two categories.
You talk
not
about,
okay. That's an important distinction.
Okay, but you defend hierarchies in society in a way that... You talk a lot about the Pareto distribution, yes?
That doesn't mean I defend it.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think you talk
Observing that something exists is not the same as defending it. How in the world...
Well, people attack it, right?
What's that?
And you don't. People attack it.
Attack
inherently, attack the hierarchies of society is inherently unjust, right?
Well, they're unjust, but
Yes.
they're also useful.
Okay, so you say they're useful. Some
Well,
people would disagree
look at
with
it
that
this way.
proposition.
Okay, look at it this way. You obviously think that it's worthwhile to stand up and ask a question.
Yes.
So you think that standing up and asking a question is better than
Yes.
not standing up and asking a question.
Yes.
Okay, that's a hierarchy
Yes.
of values.
Yes.
Okay, without the hierarchy of values, you couldn't act.
Of course.
No, not of course.
Well, wait.
It's partly why I'm
I think
defending
there's a
the
distinction
hierarchy.
here.
Without
no
a hierarchy,
one disagrees
there's
about
no
the
impetus
facts
to
of
act.
the hierarchy, right?
What's that?
There is a hierarchy in society, right?
No, there's multiple hierarchies
Okay, there are
in
multiple
society.
hierarchies in society, right?
Yes.
And you say that they are based in, you invoke the lobster, right? That they are based in nature.
I said that they were inevitable.
Yes,
Yes,
that they were inevitable. Some
Right,
people
that
disagree
doesn't
with
mean
that.
that they're
but,
good.
But my point is that this is generally relevant to it. You have a broader point than free speech. This is one of the things you talk about. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Whereas I think there are some other activists who focus on more exclusively
I'm not
on
an
free speech.
activist.
I want to talk about oppression for a moment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Dang, I want to watch the rest of that one.
I'm going to play a little clip here from one of your lectures so that we're really grounded in what you said.
You're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. God only knows why. Maybe you're too short, or you're not as beautiful as you could be, or your grandparent was a serf, likely, because almost everybody's great-grandparent was. It's like, and you're not as smart as you could be, and you have a sick relative, and you have your own sideways.
Some of the protesters...
And noted very clearly that it was like there was a crank in some sense on this. I talk to people a lot. I've worked with
We get that feeling too of
really. I have two friends that aren't his kids.
Average 5 minutes.
Took about 11 genuine labor leaders, decades studying totalitarian.
We'll have to get back to that one. I'll find the good spots on that one.
Own physical problems, and it's like, frankly, you're a mess, and you're oppressed in every possible way, including your own you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. God only knows why. Maybe you're too short, or you're not as beautiful as you could be, or your grandparent was a serf, likely, because almost everybody's great-grandparent was. It's like, and you're not as smart as you could be, and you have a sick relative, and you have your own physical problems, and it's like, frankly, you're a mess. And you're oppressed in every possible way, including your ancestry and your biology, and the entire sum of human history has conspired to produce victimized you with all your individual pathological problems.
Thanks, Dateline. He says join the Discord. Join our Discord, man. It's a good time in there. He says take a look. It's in a book on Medi's Discord, book not included. Did you find your book list?
It's like, yes, true.
Do you ever worry that saying something like that might create a false equivalency between different kinds of oppression?
No, because I'm not willing to view the world through the oppression identity politics lens. And I think the fact that we do that virtually reflexively now is extraordinarily dangerous. And even if there are ethnic differences in historical oppression on some timescales, which is undoubtedly true, that doesn't mean that we divide people into tribes now and we assign blame for those historical inequities. All it'll do is tribalize us, and you can see that happening like mad in the West and in Europe right now. It's very dangerous.
I grew up in Toronto, and I'm just speaking from the perspective of someone who experienced, like sort of systemic racial prejudice everywhere I went. That's my framework. I don't know if it's neo-Marxism or postmodernism, or if it's just my reality.
I mean, there's arbitrary obstacles standing in people's way. Some of those have to do with gender. Some of them have to do with race and prejudice and bias and all that. But the landscape around us with regards to those things is improving very rapidly. It's much better than it has been in the past. And I still think that the proper way to construe the situation is to look to yourself as an individual. The fact that there are still places where prejudice is a problem is self-evident. People are tribal by nature. But we don't contend with it by turning to an identity politics view of the world. It's not going to help. And I see Trudeau doing that all the time. To return to your initial question, I don't think he has any idea what sort of fire he's playing with.
When I see that tweet...
You have no... Want a state with more regulatory power. Do you want a state with more surveillance? I mean, first of all, why would you think that that would be trustworthy when all the evidence suggests in the past that as a state expands its surveillance power, it actually becomes less trustworthy rather than more? And why would you want, you might think, well, I certainly want someone looking into your affairs, but I don't want anybody looking into mine. Well, good luck with that, because, you know, to the degree that I have someone, elect someone to look into your affairs, they're bloody well going to be looking into mine as well. And that just doesn't strike me as a particularly positive development. And practically, because I don't believe it'll work, I don't think surveillance states do make people more honest. I think all the evidence is the opposite. And then I would say from the individual perspective, it's like, I believe that the fundamental, what we got fundamentally right in the West, because there was a number of things we got fundamentally right, even though we don't like to admit that anymore, is that the ultimate moral responsibility for the state relies on you. It relies on your...
Are you surprised, as I am, that there are men and women, boys and girls, and some of them are Christians and some are not, are now accepting homosexuality, so-called same-sex marriage, abortion, LGBTQ stuff as normal? Are you surprised that society is promoting good as, evil as though it's good and good as evil?
Yeah, I think we probably disagree on that, because I'm not surprised that people are in dialogue with all those communities. And I'm not surprised that those folks are in our church. And I'm not surprised that
Which folks?
LGBTQ, everybody's in our church, right?
But are you surprised that there are preachers and non-Christians and Christians alike who are accepting those things as normal rather than helping these people to overcome?
Well, I will tell you right now, this is why we're sponsoring a conversation in, I think, 2 weeks called, what's it called? Confronting. The fact of the matter is that the idea of these ministries is that they overcome over the course of time has not changed anybody. They literally have not changed anybody. And so the notion that somehow we can change someone's sexuality by having them go off on the community or even have these things is just clearly...
But I hear from people all the time who have changed, overcome. But are you surprised, though, that there are preachers and others who are accepting homosexuality, so-called same-sex marriage, abortion, LGBT as normal? I understand that, except for the radicals, that there are people stuck in those lifestyles and they want to overcome because they know it's wrong. Are you surprised that there are people who are accepting it as normal in today's America?
Yeah, I have to tell you that I have been in this center as an advocate that, in point of fact, God is not condemning people because of those things that you've just talked about. Now, by the way, you put a lot of them you put them all in one thing. I think that
in the same basket because it's all evil.
Right. Well, I would say let's talk about abortion first.
But first, let me ask though: are you surprised that there are people out there calling themselves Christians and others who are accepting all this, homosexuality, abortion, so-called same-sex marriage, and LGBT, and living together, sex before marriage? Are you surprised that people are accepting evil as normal?
I do not. I am not only not surprised, but I don't think it's all evil either.
Would you ever accept that as normal?
I will accept it as what God has created. Not everything in that list. Not everything in that list. But I would accept the fact that the people are...
Is there anything apart in that list that you would accept as normal? Being a preacher, you're a reverend. Is there anything would you accept? Abortion or homosexuality or same-sex marriage, LGBT, living together before marriage or having sex before marriage? Would you accept any of that as normal?
I would accept that people's sexuality is something that God gives them, and if they're gay, they're all right.
So you would accept it as normal?
I would accept it as what God has created.
How about as normal?
I don't understand what you mean by normal.
Would you accept those things that I just named off as normal?
Okay, So again, I will say LGBTQ, I would accept it as what God has created and who they are. Absolutely.
Oh, you think God created the lesbians and the homosexuals?
Who else did?
You think God created them?
Who else did?
He loves saying
created the person, but
lesbian.
he didn't create the evil spirit that made a home in them, right?
So you think that every single person who's gay or lesbian is possessed of the spirit and is evil?
But no, I'm asking you, do you? Yes, absolutely, yes.
And I would totally disagree with you.
Why? You think God created a spirit that would destroy people rather than giving them love and build them up? You think he created a destructive spirit in them?
Why would you say it would destroy people?
Homosexuality destroys. It doesn't build up.
Why do you say it destroys people?
Because
I'm a straight male, and I've seen a lot of people who love the Lord and who are gay and who are even ministers who are gay and love the Lord and brought people. I've seen them on the street bringing people. And so I don't understand the fact that you just think that everybody who's that way would be destroyed.
What do you think? Homosexuals and things like that don't love God. Preachers that are homosexuals don't love God. They
don't love God?
No, they love Satan.
Love God. How do you know they don't love God?
Because if they love God, they wouldn't be locked in that lifestyle. They would be free from it.
Okay, so you think that the love of so everybody who's got anything that you call sin in your life in their life don't love God?
Right. Because sin is of the father, the devil, and that's why Christ came to free them.
God. So every sinner doesn't love God.
Right. No, you can't be a sinner and love God. You love your dad as Satan. That's why God said you must be born again. Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, let me ask you something.
Is that right, though? Hold on.
Yeah, excuse me. Say again?
That's why God said you must be born again, because if you are sinning, you're of your father, the devil. That's why Christ came, that you may be free from sin. Isn't that right?
Christ came that we may be free and fulfill. I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly.
But isn't that, you can't...
But let me, what you define, and you're defining sin. You've decided these things are sin. And then, therefore, if they are not what you want them to be, then they don't love God. Therefore, they're not, and therefore they are in fact the folks who God does not love, or you do not love them.
How can a sinner love God? His daddy is Satan. He can't love two gods.
But you're defining that as a sin. You're defining homosexuality as sin.
Do you think it's not a sin?
It is not a sin.
What
Man, it doesn't matter who you are, not even Dr. Phillip, apparently. Whenever Jesse Lee Peterson is in the building, truth bombs get sprinkled all around, and it's always.
At least that's underpopulation crisis. Elon Musk has been tweeting about the Earth's alleged underpopulation crisis. But should we be concerned? We've agreed that it's not birth rate that's causing any kind of climate change. It's not the driver, at least, that's for sure. You think it should be, people should qualify and be tested. You think people should be tested. You think we should just feed them and let them age out.
Voluntarily.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so as a society, I mean, we value freedom, and the, reproductive choice is one of those freedoms. And I think the better approach is to try to educate people so that they're responsible when they have children and they can care for them. But I mean, I think having the government getting involved in anything like this, I mean, China's done that. It's a disaster over there.
I completely agree with you about reproductive freedom. I think that's the most important thing we need today. Hundreds of millions of couples are denied their right to not procreate. But you were mentioning
how's that, though?
Go ahead.
How are they denied that right?
They do not have the contraceptive services, reproductive health services that they need. Those are not provided. And maybe people should supply their own, but they can't afford it because they're having more offspring that they can't feed.
Where's that?
Just about everywhere. Try to get a sterilization here in America when you haven't had kids and you're only 22.
That's true.
We're not allowing people to not breed.
You see people like that all the time, and you can put an IUD in. A copper IUD is effective for 10 years. It's inert.
Have you ever walked in a grocery store and seen a lady with a bonnet on her head with 8 kids walking behind her? You think that she's being responsible? You think that she's really taking into consideration what she's supposed to do responsibly? You think that she's not on Section 8 housing? You don't think that we paying for her to house her kids, who's probably going to grow?
I disagree with all this crap that I hear. I grew up with 6 brothers and 7 sisters at a time when in Alabama, and we grew up in a little hut house, bathroom outside. And my family raised an amazing family.
I think it's back up. We should be back up. Give me one sec. But I had to start everything all over. We are back up. Holy cow. Is a mic working? Mic's working. Everything's working. Everything's back up. Except for my whole screen. Everything went out. I don't know what happened here. Dang, guys. You know what? It's getting late anyway. Just got your image not screen. Yeah, I know, bro. I don't know what the deal is. I had to restart everything up so you could see everything. Cause I'm running, without any of the screens or anything up right now. I can go to this screen, so I'll be a full screen, but everything else is off. Are we gonna back saying? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say goodbye, guys. I'm gonna cut the stream. I gotta figure out what just happened to my monitor and my setup, but should be good. Nothing a good old restart won't fix. But I'll do a little restart here. But it's late, bro. It's 10:45. I'm gonna call it a night, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning, guys. Thanks for hanging, and I will see you guys mañana. Thank you, guys. Sorry, guys. The stream just kind of tripped out on me a little bit here, so all good. We'll do a restart and be fine. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Thank you, Elmo. Appreciate you guys, dude. Good looking out. Thank you so much, guys. Hell yeah. Right on. Appreciate it. See you guys. Good night.